Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and dedicated viewers of Niagara 411 and also Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry. This is a special edition of Niagara 411 with Lee Sterry, powered as usual by WeStream, Canada's premier streaming network. And thank you to Nick and all the supporters of Niagara 411 for welcoming us once again to this forum tonight. This is a very unique election day in Ontario, and we're going to be probably exploring some of those points as we go through the program today. Now, let me tell you why we're here. We're not the CBC, and we're not the CTV, and we're not the Global News, and we're not the CHCH, but we are the exclusive Niagara conduit for information for Niagarans. This show was created on the premise of by Niagarans for Niagarans in Niagara to connect Niagarans, and that's what we're doing. We're not going to tell you or worry about everything that's happening in Timmins or London or Kingston or Lansdowne, whatever the heck it is. We are covering all four ridings that exist here in Niagara as far as this election is concerned, which includes Niagara West, Niagara Centre, Niagara Falls, as well as St. Catharines. Now, it always seemed a little bit strange to me that we have such a wide variety of municipalities, 12 of them to be exact, in the Niagara region, 12 municipalities for local municipal government, and yet only 4 ridings for the bigger elections, but that's the way it is. We may at some point in time see a rebuilding or a rewriting of the electoral map, but right now we're talking those 4 ridings and those 4 ridings only, and that's the information that we're going to be bringing you throughout the course of this evening. We of course will keep you updated on the leadership races, and that might last a little bit longer to get there because of all of the ridings that are involved in Ontario when it comes to electing the next premier of the province of Ontario. So that's what we're going to be doing. That's why we're here, because Kevin Jack, the co-founder of WeStream, along with his partner Brandon Scram, and I do the Niagara 411 Live with Lee Sterry show every couple of weeks here. And we've always thought that when it comes to political coverage in particular, that there is no one conduit any longer here in Niagara, as the so-called mainstream media has gone through its metamorphosis or its evolution, pick a word, is the fact that there is no longer anyone really focused. And it can be print, it can be regular radio, it can be television, whatever it is. There are no traditional media outlets that are covering Niagara just for the sake of Niagara, so that's why we're here, and that's why we're doing this. We're not even getting paid for it. This is, as they say, pro bono effort here, but we felt that it was necessary that we do this, and I'm kind of jazzed about it. We don't know if it's going to last an hour. We don't know if it's going to last 20 minutes. It all depends on how quickly these votes are tabulated. You know how elections go. It can be over in a snap, or it can take 2 days. You just never really know. But that's why we are here, all right? One of the things that we'd like you to do to help us out and help your fellow Niagarans is we are streaming, of course, on Niagara 411. And once again, we would like to thank Nick, the creator of the platform of the Niagara 411 News and Information page on Facebook here in Niagara. But if you're watching this, it would be really, really cool to do a refresh on your page while you're watching the stream. Tell you why we're doing this in a second. Then you go to the bottom right-hand corner where you usually see your Facebook shares, and you just click on share if you would do that. And then the other window pops up and it says share now. And if you click on that, what this does is it brings your entire realm of contacts into our little room of conversation that we're having right now, and it helps continue to connect Niagarans to Niagarans. Now, this is a pretty casual show, and might I tell you, again, when we say live, we are live. There's nothing about this that has been pre-taped, pre-recorded, predetermined, pre-planned, other than the fact of the technology, which of course is Kevin's baby, and I'm just the talking head part of this thing. But anyway, that's why we're here. That's why we're doing this, and obviously the polls just closed at 9 o'clock, which was exactly 6 minutes ago, to be perfectly honest.
And Lee, it's Kevin here behind the scenes.
Yes, sir.
And we are getting our first results. So let's jump through the 4 Niagara ridings and see what's happening.
Let's do it. Absolutely. We didn't know we'd get them.
So there you go. They're on the screen behind you, but you probably can't see them. So here, let's see if this is any better for you.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so Niagara Centre, Jeff Birch is the incumbent, of course, in that riding. His competition is Bill Steele from the PC Party, Damien O'Brien of the Liberals, Jimmy Jackson, the New Blue Party, whom we know very little about, Natasha Bergen, et cetera, et cetera. Niagara's okay. We just had a quick flip. We've got 2,470 votes total for Bill Steele, who is leading the Niagara Centre right now, over incumbent Jeff Birch of the NDP at, it's pretty close, 44-34. All right, so there's only like a 36 vote margin there. The results are coming in very quickly here. Here we are in St. Catharines. Of course, Jenny Stevens was originally elected here in 2018 as an MPP, long-serving Ontario NDP MPP, and she was also a very, very long-serving Merritton Ward city councillor in the city of St. Catharines. She's got a 129 vote lead over Sal Sorrento of the PC Party. And in St. Catharines, I believe most people that you talk to would say it's going to be a race between Jenny to retain her incumbency seat and the PCs and Sal Sorrento. I kind of see St. Catharines as being that kind of race. And that's what we're going to be doing throughout the course of the evening as these things come in. And they're going to come in, once they start coming in, they will come in fast and furious. Niagara Falls, Wayne Gates, long time MPP, originally elected in 2014, then again in 2018, and again in 2022. He's been sort of a standard bearer in the Niagara Falls riding, and he is currently leading by a margin of 1,600 votes over Ruth Ann Newestig of the PC Party. So,
I mean, Lee, knowing what we know from past elections, that's almost an insurmountable lead. 14 of 76 polls are reporting, but he's got over 52% of the votes so far, and then Ruth Ann trailing behind at 36%, a 1,600 vote margin after 14 polls. I mean,
the last time we had, sorry to cut you off, Kevin, the last time we had a provincial election, one of Niagara's best known businessmen, Bob Gale, was running against Wayne Gates, and Wayne still won that election a number of years ago. So that's a tough nut to crack when it comes to the Niagara Falls riding, which of course includes Fort Erie, Niagara-on-the-Lake, Niagara Falls. I mean, this is a large, heavily populated area of the Niagara region.
So let's go over, Lee, we'll go over to, sorry, I'll get my microphone actually in front of my mouth. We'll go over to Niagara West, which, here we go. These are the first elections results we're seeing for Niagara West.
Sam Oosterhoff has they could almost build a statue of him in that in that riding. He was originally elected in, I think it was 2016, and has shown no signs of weakening, and doesn't show any signs tonight either, with a margin of just under 1,100 votes. With 49, he's got 49% of the vote. Polls reporting only 5 out of 67. So we got a ways to go in Niagara West. There's no doubt about that. But this is what we're going to be doing over the course of the night. We're not going to be straying from Niagara, and we're not going to be yapping about a lot of meaningless stuff. As the numbers come in, we'll continue to give them to you. We're back now to Niagara Centre, which it looks like this might be the seesaw battle, ladies and gentlemen, of the Niagara region. Jeff Birch is now retaking the lead. I feel like I'm watching a NASCAR race here or something in this one, because it's back and forth with 11 out of 66 polls reporting. Jeff Birch has 41% of the vote, and Bill Steele 39% of the vote. So it's a horse race. It's a neck and neck in that riding. Jenny Stevens is again just hanging on by a thread at the moment. That's only 2 out of 55 polls. That's
yeah,
nothing.
That's what it says. So I mean, this is really the early stages.
That's brand new.
Can't really conclude anything off of 2 polls. So
And I was talking to Kevin.
Falls.
Here we go. We're back here.
I mean, this is a slam dunk for Wayne. Declare it now.
Yeah.
This is overly. I mean, 28 of 76. So you got about about a third of the polls in.
Yeah, and he's got a 54%.
Oh, sorry, 36% of the polls in. The percentage numbers right there.
Yeah. And we knew going into this that the Niagara Falls riding would, and with all due respect to Wayne and the other candidates in the region, it boils down to a vote for the leadership, I believe, of the parties. And I think an awful lot of ridings around Ontario are going to be in that situation. I mean, Doug Ford, Merritt Stiles, Bonnie Crombie, Mike Schreiner. There are a lot of these votes that are going to be leadership focused. And here's where we stand right now on that level is with what are we at? 664 of 8,000 ridings. That's not a big deal, but 43% of the vote so far has been allocated to the PC Party of Ontario. That's the entire Ontario outlook right there. And in second place at the moment is the Ontario NDP. 73% of the vote, or 73 to 21 to 16, PCs to NDP to Ontario.
Now, if you dig deep in there, Lee, you'll notice that while the NDP are sitting second in seats, they're far behind in third place when it comes to the popular vote. If you look there, I mean, the Liberals are getting 29% of the popular vote, the NDP 17%, but when it comes to riding by riding, right now, NDP 22 seats, Liberal Party 16 seats, and of course these are electoral districts that they're currently leading in.
And this is a number I should automatically know, but the number of seats that are required for a majority government in Ontario, I just lost the number.
Gosh, isn't it 63 or something like that?
Well, I think we're already there then.
Yeah, but I mean, this is just leading at the moment, right? And things could change. So let's go back to our local ridings, Lee, because some of these are very tight.
Yeah, the Jeff Birch, the Niagara Centre is going to be a hoot to watch. I think here we are. I don't believe there is going to be a big shift in Niagara West from what we have experienced. There's already a 4,300 vote differential between Sam Oosterhoff and his NDP rival. And here's the close one again, Jeff Birch and Bill Steele. I think this was going to continue to be tight. 18 of 66 polls reporting 782 vote margin, 43% for Jeff Birch and 37% for Bill Steele. Everybody else isn't also ran. They're not even close. Here's Jenny. It's also tight between Jenny and Sal here in St. Catharines. Only a couple of hundred votes plus separating those, and just maybe 25%, not even that many number of polls reporting in St. Catharines. All right. Interesting stuff when it comes to this. While we have just a second, and I don't know how long we're going to have because we want to make sure that we continue to give you up to the second, if we can, results on what's happening. We want to send our condolences to the friends and family of long civil servant Wayne Campbell, who passed away, long time city councilor of Niagara Falls, and he just stepped away from his role as a Niagara Falls city councilor this past Tuesday. So just a couple of days ago, did Wayne say, "Okay, I've had enough. I'm gonna take it easy now." Well, he's taking it easy, and I hope resting in peace. Wayne Campbell, thank you very much for your service, and it has been significant over the decades in the Niagara region. And Kevin, you probably had more involvement with Wayne because you covered Niagara City Council through WeStream and streaming the council meetings, et cetera, for a long time. And you probably knew Wayne better than perhaps a lot of people outside the city council chamber.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't really know Wayne too well personally, but I knew him professionally. But the professional man, from what I understand, was the same as the personal man. Absolutely in love with his wife, Helga. Gave a lot back to the community. I think he first landed a seat in public office for the school board as a trustee or something way back in the early 80s. In 1988, I believe he had the most votes in the municipal election, as he was elected an alderman for the city of Niagara Falls and held that position until Tuesday. And very sad to learn of Wayne's passing. They've lost a good one.
Yeah, and I mean, he talk about giving till the ultimate. He certainly did that. 2 days after he steps back and says, I'm going to take it easy for a little while, he checks out. And God bless him. And thank you for your service, Wayne Campbell. We'll miss you.
So as of now, Lee, the electoral map looks like this, and we'll cycle through the four local ridings again in just a second and see the updates. But this is exactly what the map looked like at the end of the previous election in 2022.
It's exactly what it looked like, and it's shaping up to be that way again. The NDP people in the NDP party in Niagara has pretty much sort of had an anchor here in St. Catharines, in Niagara Central, as well as Niagara Falls. The only outlying one is Niagara West, where Sam Oosterhoff since 2016. And he has had, since then, an amazing, well, even before then, when he first ran, both Kevin and I were in so-called traditional media, mainstream media at that time, and it was a juggernaut of groundswell community support for Sam Oosterhoff as a very, very young man when he ran, first of all, for the representation of that riding, and he hasn't looked back. That base, I guess, is what we call it now in politics, your political base. His base is about as strong as any municipal politician I've ever seen, and it looks like that's going to hold. I would think.
Yeah, and I think you're right, Lee. Let's head back to the election results. And
let's have a look here. Here he is. He's now almost 7,500 votes ahead, 33. That's pretty much half of the polls reporting, and he's got a 50+ percentage point of the popular vote.
So that means, the other 7 candidates are all fighting over 50% of the pie, and Sam's got more than 50. So
yeah.
That one's done.
What I find interesting, Kevin, in that riding is the fact that it's the Liberals in second place, but I guess it's a little bit closer to the Big Smoke. It's a little bit closer to the Toronto influence, and that's where the Red Army sort of starts to take over, is when you get close to metropolitan Toronto. But I would say Sam is going to retain his seat. I don't think he's going to go to bed and have a rough sleep at all tonight. 27 out of 66 polls reporting in Niagara Centre, and the battle goes on between Jeff Birch of the NDP, the incumbent, and Bill Steele. 1,450 votes separating the two. That's quite a margin, but it keeps flipping back and forth. That might be the tightest race.
Well, St. Catharines is also pretty tight.
Jenny Stevens and Sal Sorrento have one going too. This is going to be interesting. Funny enough, I spent some time in the Meriton Royal Canadian Legion today, and as I was leaving with some friends, the Jenny Stevens crowd were setting up her after party at the Meriton Canadian Legion. That was kind of cool to meet Jenny's support staff there. There's orange balloons all over the place. So anyway, there's been a bit of a bump here now. Just in the last few seconds. She's now up by 1,300 votes, 41% to Sal Sorrento's 35%. You may remember he ran the last time in the last provincial election, and he was defeated by Jenny then. So he's come back for a second kick at the can here. And of course, everybody else, and we appreciate the civic effort of all of the other candidates from all of the other parties, but without putting too much of a shine on it, there's not much sense in talking about them. But, so, sorry about your luck. It's basically a Sal and Jenny race when it comes to the riding of St. Catharines.
Right, here's an update with Niagara Falls. I'll get to the nitty-gritty here. 57% of polls reporting. That's 44 of 76. And as you see, Wayne Gates has what I would call an insurmountable lead.
Hard to come back when these numbers in other kinds of elections might not seem that large, but when, as Kevin says, you get 57% of the polls reporting, and you've got a 53 to 35%.
Yeah, that's what it is. I know those numbers are small for
you.
No,
that's okay.
Yeah.
I can make it out. I'm getting old, but I can read. I got it. 53% to 35% of the popular vote, with 57%. I mean, stranger things could happen, but it's unlikely. So it looks like
this is done. That latest bump lead brought us to 77% of the polls reporting, and Wayne Gates there's got just shy of a 9,000 vote lead. So I mean. Yeah. It's done. Wayne's going back to the legislature.
Wayne's going back. Yeah, he has been doing this. God bless him. I mean, he's been doing this since 2014, and he just keeps. It's like Groundhog Day. We do the same thing over and over again. So Jenny Stevens is still a little bit close. The Jeff Birch race in Niagara Centre is still close. Sam Oosterhoff is that's pretty much a done deal again. So we don't have a long way to go to declare your winners in Niagara. If the averages, now we're not official. We're not going to say such and such as won, but I think we can probably make a fairly decent guess based on the trajectory of these votes as they come in. Now here's then the other thing, like I said, we're not going to cover all the other ridings in the province, but we will cover the leadership race, of course, and here we are with 44, almost 45% of the polls reporting. So we're almost halfway there. 76 seats for the PC Party of Ontario, so it's pretty much a done deal that they're going to be the governing party once again. 24 seats for the Ontario NDP. 13 for Bonnie Crombie's Ontario Liberal Party. So I'm pretty sure that the Crombie camp did not come anywhere near close to what they were attempting to do. 43% of the vote for the PCs. Is that 18% of the vote for the NDPs? And 29% for the Liberals.
Yeah, so that just tells you that the Liberals are finishing a strong second in a lot of ridings.
In the popular vote, but
the NDP are grabbing more seats. There's more districts like Wayne Gates, where they're winning by a landslide in one riding, and then in another far-off riding, the NDP may be far off.
Yeah. So right now, it's a little bit too close to call. When you compare the popular vote to the number of seats, there's a bit of a disconnect there, as Kevin was just talking about, and the fact that it's still unclear who the official opposition is going to be in the province of Ontario, and that's where the race might come in. One of the things that's interesting as well is Bonnie Crombie, the leader of the Liberal Party, does not have a seat in the legislature. She is hoping to win her riding so that she does have a seat. She currently doesn't have a seat in the day-to-day operation of the provincial government. She's running in Mississauga East. That's her home riding, but she doesn't have a seat yet. So she's running on a couple of different levels. She is not only running to perhaps be premier, which is pretty damn obvious that's not going to happen, but she'd be happy if she could just have a seat at the table, which she doesn't have right now.
No. And Lee, just to answer the question, there are 124 seats in the Ontario legislature, which means my number before was right. 63 is what you're looking for. And right now it looks like the PC Party, Doug Ford's Conservative Party, are leading or have won 77 ridings.
Which means they already have a majority. And Doug Ford made no secret about the fact that he was looking for an absolute dominating mandate, a dominant majority in the legislature to be able to promote his Ontario vision. It looks like that might be a realized goal on behalf of the Ontario PC party. So they had, I think they had 80 something the last time, Kevin.
I'm not sure. I can't remember what they had coming in.
I believe it was in the 80s, the last time we had this election. And it'll 83, 84, somewhere in that. And I'm estimating, but I believe it was somewhere in that realm. So he's obviously looking for an even larger mandate than that.
Yeah, I think right now, Lee, and this is according to Wikipedia, so take it with a grain of salt, but they said 79 is what they had in the 2022 election, and right now that number sits at 77.
Okay, I thought it was a little higher, but the point being, your premier is going to be, once again, Doug Ford. What kind of a mandate he will end up with is only a few minutes away, probably, because...
All right, let's rip through the local ridings.
Let's do it again. Yeah, let's go back. Yeah.
And Lee, I'm going to do the best that I can. If if we're still on the air when Doug Ford comes out to give a speech or something like that, or any of the locals, I'll be checking the socials and seeing what's out there. But for right now,
because there will be times when people are either declaring defeat or declaring victory, and if we can bring those conversations to you, we most certainly will. And here we go with 56%. Of the polls in. It's over a 9,000 vote margin at 49% with Sam Oosterhoff. So we're pretty much declaring Sam the re-elected incumbent in Niagara West. Niagara Centre, Jeff Birch has pulled ahead a little bit, 63% of the polls reporting 42 out of 66. So we got like 14 polls out of 66 left to go. It's still pretty tight. Niagara Centre has a lot of pockets of populace that, depending on how efficient their poll taking was, and Kevin and I were talking about this before, some of the polls in Niagara were electronically scanned, some of them were physical ballots that you dropped in the box. So some of the polls might be a little bit longer to report, and depending on where they are and the number of people in those areas, these things could change. I'm not trying to create undue drama here, because right now it looks like Jeff Birch, the incumbent for Niagara Centre, has a pretty good lead and is in a pretty good position. But there's still 37% or so of the polls left to report.
All right, we'll hop over to St. Catharines. We're now
how's 40%. Jenny and Sal Sorrento doing?
40% of the polls have reported 22 of 55, so we're inching close to halfway, and Jenny's inching away from Sal. Looks like
she is, but it's still one of the closer Niagara races, and again, Jenny has been an MPP here since 2018 and a long-serving city councilor before that, so she has great brand awareness and brand credibility, actually, in the St. Catharines riding at a number of different levels. So would not at all be surprised to see her incumbency supported and her go back into office. But Sal's given it a college try. The thing is, she's still almost 2,500 votes behind with 41% of the vote, and Sal's at 35. That's not over yet, Kevin. That one is not over yet. I don't think.
You don't think so? I'd be very surprised. I mean, we've been covering elections, Lee. I mean, you've been covering for 40 years. I've been doing them for 25 years. And when you start to see leads like this, and when as every poll comes in, Jenny just seems to pull a little further ahead.
I know.
But you're right, only 40%. Sorry, no, now 52% of the polls reporting, Lee. So with half the polls in, she's got a 2,500 vote lead.
But do you realize how slim that is for the population of St. Catharines, which is what now, about 160,000 people? I don't know how many eligible.
They say at the bottom there's 93,000 registered electors.
Oh, is that what it was, 93,000? I couldn't read the smallest print.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm helping you out.
Okay, thank you. So out of 93, I'll be very interested over the course of the post-mortem reporting on this election to find out what the voter turnout was, and I would be very surprised if the voter turnout wasn't very low. I don't think the voter turnout across the entire province was going to be very high, which is unfortunate. It's the only opportunity that we have to really have a voice, and I know there is a segment of our society that believe that your vote doesn't mean anything, that our vote doesn't mean anything, that we don't have a voice and our voice means nothing. But as long as you believe that our voice means nothing, then it won't mean anything. It's a bit of a catch-22. If you believe it, it will be true. If you build it, they will come. If you don't build it, they won't come. If you don't vote, you don't have a voice. If you do vote, you do have a voice. You see where I'm going with this. And the polls before voting day came around stated that the PCs had a double point percentage lead in the polls, and so I know I would be very surprised if there weren't a large portion of people that said, "Well, it's over. I don't need to vote. I'm not going to bother. It's a predestined result." Well, as long as you don't vote, it will be a predestined result, and that's the thing with modern politics is the fact that if you don't believe your vote counts, then it won't count because you won't vote. See what it's a circle. It's a vicious circle.
So
anyway,
to that point, provincially, voter turnout sits at 35.15%. So that's pretty abysmal, to be honest, based on what you just said.
It's awful.
Yeah, so 35%, and let's go through some of our local districts here. And I know it's a small print, so I'll help you out on this. So in Niagara West, it's a 48% voter turnout.
Where is the number? At the I see at the bottom. Left. Yeah, I can see that. I'm old, but I can see that. 48% turnout in Niagara West. That's not bad, actually. I mean, it's not good, but it could be worse. So what that tells me is Sam Oosterhoff's supporters came out in full force. 35% in Niagara Centre. That's not good. That's not good. 35% of.
Yeah, and it looks like Jeff Birch is winning again. I mean, that riding, former Welland riding, has been tied to the NDP going all the way back to Peter Cormos.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And arguments could be made as to whether or not that's helped them over the last 3 or 4 decades.
What do you think what impact, Kevin, do you think, we'll never be able to judge it correctly, the weather had, because it was a pretty crappy day around Niagara today. And I think there were a lot of people that just didn't want to go outside, as awful as that sounds.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's some people that are really into the weeds in this analysis that'll tell you that it means one thing or the other. A bad weather day is great for the PCs, or a bad weather day is great for the NDP.
A bad weather day is always good for the incumbents. Always good, because they've got the brand recognition, and they've got one foot in the door already. So there's Jeff. Again, 74% of the vote in. He's 1,400 up with, 41% of the vote?
Yeah, he's got 41% of the vote.
To 37%.
49 of 66 polls reporting, but he is only 1,400 votes up.
And
so
Bill,
that could still swing.
It could still swing. And Bill Steele is a popular politician in the region of Niagara.
Yeah, we've worked alongside Bill on a couple of ventures for Port Colborne. WeStream regularly does business for and with Port Colborne.
Yeah.
And to be honest, as a man, he's a great guy. He's a great guy. He means well. And this isn't to say that I support the PC party, the NDP, or whatever. I'm just talking about Bill the man and how he is in municipal politics.
Yep.
And I think the people of Port Colborne are served right with him at the helm.
There's another bit of a shift, but nothing much with 74%. The lead, the margin remains pretty much stable between the incumbent Jeff Birch and challenger Bill Steele. Jenny Stevens, 58% of the polls in, 41% to 33. Is that 33 or 35% that we see on the screen there? 35?
That is 35% for Sal and 41.8% for Jenny Stevens. But again, as every poll comes in, Jenny seems to just distance herself ever so slightly more ahead.
And the margin of 2,600 votes in a riding the size of St. Catharines is probably pretty significant. And as we were talking about before, the voter turnout in St. Catharines is just a little bit under. Oh, it now just popped up. It just changed to 46%. Still not good.
And there you see. I mean, another poll comes in, and
Jenny's up a bit more.
A bit more, and it seems to be what's been trending for the last, pretty much since we started at 9 o'clock, and the results started to pour in.
Now, the Orange Party, which we've been referring to the NDP as for years, in these ridings has been in Niagara in control for a long time, and there are those that would say, well, because of that, they haven't received the consideration on behalf of the Premier and the PMOs and the Premier's office and the provincial government because they don't want to do the NDP ridings any favors. Case in point, back to the day of the Niagara, of the Fort Erie racetrack, when all of the slot machines and whatnot were pulled out of there, and one wonders whether, as long as that butting of heads continues between political parties, will Niagara get the attention that it deserves from the provincial government if it continues to have NDP opponents to the leadership of the province? I don't know. Sam Oosterhoff in Niagara West, that's a bit of a different thing. It's a little bit closer to Toronto. It's a little bit closer to the big city. But all of those NDP strongholds that are here in Niagara, do we get the consideration that we should get from the provincial government if it's not an NDP government?
So here's Wayne Gates on X. And there you go. This is 10 minutes ago from Wayne. So obviously he's claiming victory.
He's accepting victory. Thank you, Niagara. You're welcome, Wayne.
But yeah, there he is from 11 minutes ago and 8 hours ago, vote Gates. So that's his really first public comment of the day right there.
Thank you. He's a hard-working man. He represents his community well. He works hard for his constituents, and congratulations, Wayne, on yet another electoral victory in an age where there are a lot of issues in Ontario. There was a lot of rhetoric, a lot of different energies floating around, and you know what? You got to give people their due. So Wayne, congratulations on yet another victory. Elected in 2014, then 2018, then 2022, and now again in 2025. So Wayne Gates is your MPP for the riding of Niagara Falls, including Niagara Lake and Fort Erie and Niagara Falls, of course. But well done. Good job, Wayne. Congratulations on a great career. Kevin, it's been an interesting night, but it didn't. Not a lot of surprises. I guess still maybe the Niagara Centre riding is the one that we thought might be a little bit up for grabs, but with 77% of the ridings reporting and only a 36% turnout of the vote. It's not good enough, folks. And it must drive Kevin. It drives us in the so-called media or social media crazy when we don't see participation and the voice step up. It must make the politicians really crazy when I think, oh my God, only 36% of the people that are eligible to vote showed up to make their mark. 36%. And the other people that are going to bitch about it, the other 64% that are going to bitch about it for the next 2 or 3 or 4 years or whatever, if they didn't vote, they shouldn't have a standing. Like, come on, man and woman. What?
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. That's tight. I mean, I think...
It is tight, but...
78% now, and again, 1,500 for Jeff. It's just at the beginning, those two were flip-flopping, Jeff Birch and Bill Steele.
Oh, they were flip-flopping every 2 minutes, but now it's not
Right,
doing
so let's go to
that.
St. Catharines, which is the other tight one here in Niagara, but it seems that, again, Jenny, with every poll, is pulling further and further away from South.
She's got now a 3,300 vote margin, 48%. St. Catharines probably had the best turnout, voter turnout with, but it's still under 50%, almost 49% of the registered voters showed up. Sal, once again, looks like he's going to come up a little bit short, as he did the last time in the riding of St. Catharines. And you know what? Brand awareness and name recognition is a big, big deal when it comes to politics. And there's nobody, I don't think, in St. Catharines that perhaps has a bigger name recognition than Jenny Stevens. I mean, just people know her name. Even if they don't know a lot about Jenny in person, they know the name. And that means a lot when people show up at the polls.
No, you're bang on, Lee, bang on. So I've been checking socials. No update yet from Sam Oosterhoff. No update from Jenny Stevens. And no update thus far.
Sam's having a cocoa and watching Netflix. He knows he's going to win. Sorry, Sam, I'm just kidding.
You know what I saw the other day, Lee, when it comes to Oosterhoff, is how to pronounce his last name. It's like Oster, like toaster.
Oosterhoff.
So now I think about that. Oh, it's like toaster. It's Sam Oosterhoff.
Oosterhoff, yeah.
So you go. A lot of us have just been saying Oosterhoff for so long.
Well, that's because the way it's spelled.
Yeah, but it's Oosterhoff.
Yeah, in his the dialect of his heritage, it's Oosterhoff.
I guess so. Here, let's take a look at what's happening province-wide. Remember, Lee,
let's do that.
63 seats is what the PCs need for majority. They came in with 79 seats based on the last election.
Okay.
And right now they're sitting right there.
Yeah. And we've still got 30% of the polls to come in. Now, the thing is with these, as you know, you don't know where those polls are coming from. The Etobicoke area, of course, which is Doug Ford's home base, you're going to have a larger majority. Percentage, you run into problems when you talk about percentages and averages and things of that nature, because you just can't take a percentage to the bank, because, of course, you don't know which of those ridings are reporting and which of those ridings are left, just judging by the numbers that we have. All we can do is deal in macro numbers, which is what we're doing right now. And the macro numbers are telling us that, well, first of all, it's for sure Doug Ford is going to continue to be the Premier of Ontario. By how much of a majority mandate is yet to be seen, but it's there. I'll be very interested. I don't know, Kevin, if you can research Bonnie Crombie's just
look it up.
Just for giggles. In Mississauga East.
Oh, is it? You know the riding? It's Mississauga East?
I think it's Mississauga East is Bonnie Crombie's riding, and that's the one that she's running in, and she doesn't even have a seat. So I know she's hoping at least, even though she's obviously not going to challenge Ford for the premiership of the province, but I'd be very interested to see if she even wins a seat in the legislature. Because that's a big. If you're the leader of a provincial party and you can't come to the House and have a conversation, that's a big deal. So that I find interesting. That's one of the most interesting things that I find.
I'll pull it up, Lee. It's not displaying like I hoped it would, but either way, it'll give us the results. It's partnered there with Niagara Falls, but you can see that right now Bonnie Crombie is not winning her riding.
She's not winning her riding. No, that's what I wanted to see. Yeah. So. She's trailing Sylvie Gauthier of the PCs by 1,800 votes, 47% to 41%, 62%. It's good. That's going to be really tight. So that's going to be an interesting one to watch on a provincial basis. But Niagara, we've got Wayne Gates has been pretty much anointed as the continuing MPP for the Niagara Falls riding. Sam Oosterhoff, that's kind of a non-conversation as well in Niagara West. Jenny Stevens it's closer, and Jeff Birch is closer as well. I'm not seeing a major shift happen, but I guess it's
There's the latest
at the end of the day, it's
numbers
possible.
there for Niagara Centre. There's Jeff Birch up by 1,500 over Bill Steele.
Yeah, 41 to 37. That percentage separation, Kevin, has stayed pretty much the same throughout the course of the night. It's remained fairly steady, and now there's 80% of the polls reporting for Niagara Centre. So Bill Steele has a great big leap. He's got to probably win every poll yet to report before that.
Yeah. So just scrolling through Jeff Birch's X or Twitter account here, and just a couple generic posts from the day saying, "Hey, get out there and vote."
Yeah.
But nothing new. There's Merritt Stiles. Do you know what riding she's in? Is she?
Merritt Stiles is in Davenport.
Okay.
She's in the riding of Davenport.
All right, I'll take a look at that.
Who knew that I'd do this kind of research, eh?
I know. Well done.
And I find her a very engaging lady. I think she's a pretty competent politician, but nobody knows who she is. And in the short campaign time that Canadian elections have, if people don't know your name, it's a really tough row to hoe, as they say. But she's winning her riding, and good for her. So the leader of the Ontario NDP party is going to at least have a seat at the table. She may not have any sort of leverage to speak of, but she's going to have a seat at the table. So good for her. At least the leader of the NDP party has a seat in the House. So that's good. 86% of the polls reporting. She's got a margin of almost 14,000 votes, 37% to the next competitor, which is 20. So we could say that Merritt Stiles, the leader of the NDP party, has won her seat and will be having a seat in the ledge.
And you would assume that if Bonnie Crombie doesn't even win her riding, that she would have to step down as.
Oh, can you say leadership review?
Yeah, I would think so, right? You have to. If you can't even win your riding. But Merritt Stiles there, I mean, that's a...
good for her.
Yeah, 57%. That's a strong endorsement. Lee, let's just toggle through our local results again. Nothing new here in Niagara West, right?
No, that's a done deal. 49% to 25% with 64% of the polls reporting.
There you go. It just jumped up, Lee, as we were talking. So 74% of the polls now.
Yeah. And we were talking about voter turnout. That is the highest percentage of voter turnout in the region in Niagara West, with almost 52%. And it's no great scream in hell, but it's still 52%, which is better than a lot of other ridings across the province, I'm sure. But congratulations, Sam Oosterhoff. You're going to be Oosterhoff. You're going to be representing Niagara West in the provincial parliament.
Yeah, so, and Lee, before we hop out of Niagara West and look at the other ridings, just want to highlight and congratulate Mark Harrison of the Green Party. And not that I'm a big Green, but I know Mark. I know him well. We actually bought our house off of Mark.
Okay.
And now he's running for the Green Party. Always been a very nice guy, been very true to me and my family. So congratulations. It's not easy to throw your hat in the ring, put yourself out there, be scrutinized under the magnifying glass of a provincial election. So congratulations for at least getting that far. And what did he get here? He got, 1,700 votes. So good for you, Mark.
Yeah, and we were having a chat about this before we went to air with the program tonight, is the fact the Green Party is in kind of in general, is in kind of an interesting situation, not just provincially, but across the entire country. As a fact, since climate change has become such a big deal with all parties, all governments, it's kind of taken the wind out of the Green Party's sails, because that was their whole thing, the climate and the environment and all the rest of it. So it's kind of hard for the Green Party these days to get a foothold and redefine their position. I think it's going to be an interesting few years for that party. So let's revisit. We're still sitting at about, 79 seats for the PCs of Ontario?
Yeah, just dropped to 28, and I think the NDP picked up one. So they're down to 78. NDP are up to 25. But, I mean, that's a strong majority, 78. Coming into this, I think the PCs had 79. So even though Doug Ford kind of ran on this, I want a stronger mandate from the people of Ontario.
Yeah, it's not over, though. There's 25% of the polls left to go. So,
and obviously one of these ridings is very close. They're just not really here. I mean, Jeff Birch, again, 1,500 votes separating him and Bill Steele, but
that's staying very consistent. It's been 41% to 37% of the vote pretty much for the last 25 minutes or so. Even though the numbers change, the percentages tend to remain fairly consistent. 83% of the polls have reported in Niagara Centre. The only party leader that we haven't really checked on is Mike Schreiner of the Greens. We were talking about the Greens a little bit, and now he's running in Guelph.
Okay, I'll punch that up.
And I just thought it might be interesting to see how he did, because he doesn't have a huge brand awareness in provincial politics either. Now, he probably does in his own party, but we don't know a lot about Mike Schreiner, so I'm not even sure how he's doing. There he is. Oh, he's okay. He's safe. 92% of the polls reporting. He's 20,000 votes up, 56. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a slam dunk.
Well, he's got his own seat. I don't know about whether there are any other Greens that have been elected in Ontario, but Mike Schreiner at least the Greens have a seat at the table.
There you go. They got 2.
There you go.
So Green Party are winning or leading in 2, and Mike Schreiner would be one of those in Guelph. So there are your other, of the 4 major parties. You have Merritt Stiles, who looks like she's winning her riding at Davenport.
Yeah, she's fine. Mike Schreiner's good. Bonnie Crombie is now behind in her riding of Mississauga East, Cooksville. That is a big provincial story, folks, right there. She is trying to win her own seat. And when you heard and saw all of the advertising, etc., of course, she was doing a lot of PC bashing. There was a lot of negative political posturing in this campaign. But for her to risk losing, even gaining her own seat in her own riding, is something. Now, the margin is very small. The popular vote numbers, the percentages are very small. Can you say recount, boys and girls? We don't know yet. But that's a big story. Provincially, it's a big story.
All right. Where do you want to go here, Lee? What do you want to? You know what? Why don't we do this? I'll surf let's surf the socials of some of the people. So here's Jeff Birch.
Today's your opportunity. So that's old. There's nothing brand new for Jeff over the last since polls closed.
No, nothing really there.
No.
Let's check. There's Sam Oosterhoff. Again, nothing really new. 12 hours ago would be the latest.
Yeah. No, nothing. There has been no acknowledgement of the potential win, of course, which he's going to do. Nothing from Jenny yet.
2 days ago, our last post here on X. And, as we showed you already, the kind of the victory post from Wayne.
Yeah. Wayne's got it right. Wayne has he's never resisted the opportunity for self-promotion. I mean, I got to give full props to Wayne. He's on top of things, and we were on top of this pretty early. The fact that he was going to be reelected for the fourth time? 1, 2, 3. Yes, fourth time as an MPP representing the riding of Niagara Falls.
And then at the top, haven't seen anything from Doug Ford, at least on his X, which...
No, I really think, just my humble opinion, that he's waiting to see how big a footprint he has as the leader. He's waiting to see how big that footprint gets. He knows he knew going in he was going to be reelected, but by how much and by how many and where?
Oh, look at that clever jersey he wore to St. Catharines yesterday, Lee.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Never 51. So Doug Ford spent a lot of his campaigning time down here in Niagara because of, the electoral map right behind you that looks like that. He even made another visit yesterday to St. Catharines, and despite all the efforts from the top.
This is one of the most populated, most vibrant areas in the entire the entire province of Ontario. And it has been an area that other parties have not been able to crack for a long time. The NDP has had such a foothold that now, Niagara West notwithstanding, because it's, and not to paint any short shrift to Niagara West, because you're still part of the Niagara Peninsula, but it's still closer to the smoke. It's still closer to the big city. It's still closer to that pulse that is Queen's Park. So, but the rest of Niagara is different, and the progressive conservatives and the Liberals, for that matter, for the Liberals had a foothold here for a while years ago, but it's been a long time since any other party has had a chance to even take a nick out of the NDP presence as far as provincial representation in the region of Niagara. And that's why Ford was down here as often as he was, because it's kind of like the jewel of southern Ontario as a whole. What happens down here, and I say down here because southern Ontario, southwest, south north, and et cetera, is so important because there is such a concentration of population in Ontario that it's important for these parties to get a foothold. And it doesn't look like the PCs are going to do that yet again. They've missed opportunities yet again, it would appear, in all but one of the Niagara ridings. And it's history repeating itself again and again. So I don't know what they have to do, but they better start cooperating with the local NDP MPPs, because if they don't, they're gonna have a long history of losing elections in Niagara.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at some of those NDP MPPs that look like they're going back, and starting in Niagara Falls with, you talk about a strong message. The people of Niagara Falls are sending that directly to Wayne Gates, saying, we back you.
Yep. And when you look at the total votes, you think 10,791 vote margin. That doesn't sound like a lot of people. And it isn't when you consider only 44% of the people in the Niagara Falls riding showed up to vote, but I won't flog that dead horse any longer. But the point is, the people that did show up, 54% of them, 54% out of 7 people were running in the Niagara Falls riding. Think about that. Seven people were running in the Niagara Falls riding. 54% of them voted for Wayne Gates. So,
yeah, and Lee, just to give you an idea, that top number there, this is 75 of 76 polls reporting. So, I know we declared it, but this is done.
It's done like dinner.
So here we go, St. Catharines, and again, we are 41 of 55 polls. Now, right. Lee, when I voted, although I was voting Niagara West, even though I live in St. Catharines, I'm right on the division, no electronic polling. I marked my X and I stuffed my ballot into a giant cardboard box. So I imagine that those polls that do not have electronic tallying machines
will be later.
Will be a little later. So that might be what's happening in St. Catharines.
Manual counting is no doubt going to take longer. Now, where I voted in the north end, when my wife and I voted earlier today, we did have electronic voting, and it was easy peasy. Man, it went by in a hurry. I hardly realized I voted. Boom, 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 done. The guy says, "Your voter number 132. Watch it come up." Zip, boom, done. Over and out. It was incredible. What a great system. What I don't understand, Kevin, is why wouldn't they have this in your area? We don't live that far apart. I can drive to your house in 10 minutes. Why can't you have electronic polling there?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'm going to blame Osterhoff.
You're in Sam's riding, aren't you?
I am. Yeah, we've been sitting here at 1,600 votes for the difference between Jeff and Bill down in Niagara Centre for a good half hour now.
The number that I keep looking at is the percentage of the vote, and it has not changed. The raw numbers have changed, but 41% to 37% has not changed in ages. It's like frozen in time. So whatever it is that is creating that gap, it's remaining consistent in Niagara Centre. Interesting stuff.
And there you go. Sam Oosterhoff, 10,000 votes.
Congratulations, Sam. We kid you around a lot because you've been a young guy, and we used to, kid you about your age, etc. But you've been a good representative of your riding, and congratulations for your continued success in Niagara West. He's been serving Niagara West since 2006. Can you realize it's been that long? 2016 that Sam was originally elected in Niagara West.
Yeah, what was he, 14 years old at the time or something like that?
10, I thought.
You know, all my dealings with Sam have been very professional, very cordial.
He's a very professional guy.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
you can say what you want, but it's always been nice to me.
Me too. No complaints. I've interviewed him numerous times, been in his presence a few times, and he appears to be representing his constituents well, or they wouldn't be continuing to support him. But again, going to his base, he has a very, very rabid and committed, rabid in a good way, committed base of support in that riding. Stronger, I think, than just about anybody has ever had in the Niagara region. But again, there are a number of our NDP candidates that have continued to maintain their very, very committed support, loyal people in their ridings. Wayne Gates, Jeff Birch, Jenny Stevens, and I know it's not 100% over in those ridings, but it sure looks like it's going to be that. Doug Ford, will he end up getting the mandate that he wants? He's still now sitting at 79. That number hasn't budged in a while as far as the number of seats are concerned. He's already got a majority, but I think he wanted a bigger one than that even. NDP right now looks like they will be the official opposition. So now, I guess it was leading or winning. So now the PCs are at 78. So there must be a little bit of jockeying for position going on as far as the seats are concerned, which I can't really explain to you because I'm not sure I understand 100% of it myself. But we've got 78 and then 26. So it does appear that the NDP will be the official opposition at Queen's Park, which is a good thing because Merritt Stiles did win her seat, and it doesn't look like Bonnie Crombie is going to win hers.
Now, speaking of, we did not peek on Doug Ford's riding. Do you know what his riding is?
Etobicoke North.
I'll punch that in here.
Doug's is Etobicoke North. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. Well, not much of a contest there. 56% to 28%. Not much of a contest there.
Is that what you're seeing? I'm seeing. Oh yeah, you're right. 56%.
Yeah.
It's real small, but yeah.
94% of the polls are in. 32 out of 34 polls are in. So guess what? There you go. So
yeah, and then down there,
I don't know how that compares to how we did the last time, but he's still got a huge majority. This is the biggest provincial story of the election night, and it's very, very close. It's very, very close. 79%, I think, almost 80% of the vote in the riding of Mississauga East Cooksville, where the PC candidate Sylvia Gauthieri and Bonnie Crombie are going head-to-head, and Bonnie's still about 4% behind. And the key thing here is the fact that she doesn't have a seat, and it looks like she might not ever have a seat, which means perhaps another leadership review. I can't see a party going through the next 3 to 4 years with a leader that doesn't have a seat at the table. Doesn't make any sense. So,
yeah, I don't know what to take away from this, Lee. It's much ado about nothing, at least here in Niagara. And I'll pull up the map here behind you. But, I mean, here's where we sat in 2022, and this is a little bit of the changing of the flag because Jenny Stevens was the first NDP provincial candidate in, gosh, I want to say 40 years because Jim Bradley, for 30 years, painted St. Catharines red.
He was, Jim Bradley was the last Liberal stronghold in the Niagara region. When Jim left politics, provincial politics anyway, he just sort of took the whole red flag with him. The red party left when Jim left, and then it's been painted orange. So there we got Sam over there in his nice big riding of Niagara West. Then we got the 2s, the 3s, the 4s. Jenny Stevens is St. Catharines at number 4. Number 3 would be Wayne Gates, and number 2 would be Jeff Birch. and it looks like that, Kevin. It looks like we're going to be able to look at this painted map for the next 3 or 4 years, at least. And there still haven't. I can't believe that there still has not been any social posting from our representatives here in Niagara, or from the province for that matter.
I'm a little surprised too. Maybe I'll hop over on Facebook and see if they're more active there. But
yeah, there might be something more active there. There again, there's your margin, 42 to 37. It was 41 to 37. So 90% of the polls are in, 60 out of 66. We could pretty much safely project, I think, Kevin, that Jeff Birch, the incumbent for Niagara Centre, has been reelected.
I think that's safe.
Yeah, I think so. Bill Steele, another kick at the can. How's St. Catharines doing? Have we checked in on Jenny and Sally recently? That's 42, 35, 3,200 margin. I think Jenny's pretty safe on that one. I mean, it could change. I'm not trying to diss you too much here, Sal, but it looks like Groundhog Day all over again.
So what you're saying is they're partying in Meriton right now, right? You said you were at the Meriton Legion right next to the rink.
I was actually at the Meriton Legion today, playing some cards with friends, and the Jenny Stevens staff and supporters came in, and they were decorating the place. Well, this is going to be Jenny's party headquarters, win or lose. So she's been there since probably 9 o'clock today. So
yeah, I'll check her out on Facebook. But again, nobody really active on X.
No,
I'll see what Jenny is doing here on. Oh, there you go, Jenny Stevens.
Yeah.
See, the thing is that I'm personal friends, at least on Facebook with some of these people. So sometimes I get their personal account as opposed to their professional, but it's kind of one and the same.
So
nowadays.
Just as a quick recap, Wayne Gates has retained his seat in Niagara Falls. Sam Oosterhoff has retained his seat in Niagara West. Crazy nut bar things could happen, but at the moment it looks like it's going to be more of the same old. As I mentioned, Jeff Birch, the incumbent, it looks like he shall retain his seat as an NDP member of provincial parliament in Niagara Centre, and it would appear that Jenny Stevens also has been returned to her position as MPP for St. Catharines. Doug Ford has certainly retained his title of Premier of the province of Ontario. Merritt Stiles, NDP in Davenport, looks like she will be the leader of the official opposition going forward. Bonnie Crombie is in a world of hurt because not only have her Liberals underperformed across the province, it looks like she might not even get a seat in provincial parliament. Mike Schreiner of the Greens, I think he probably came up as good a showman as he could have, being a new leader, going through a new election. He won his seat in Guelph, and there was one other Green Party member somewhere in Ontario that won a seat as well. So there's a couple of Green seats at the Ontario legislature. The big story, as I mentioned before, I can't put too fine a point on this, is the Liberals are in deep doo-doo in the province of Ontario. Bonnie Crombie, I don't dislike her. I think she's pretty smart. I think she's run a pretty decent campaign. Again, it's been kind of negative campaigning for all the parties, but the Liberals after their long reign in Ontario for many years, they're in a whole world of hurt. They as the major sports teams would say, "Wow, this is a rebuilding year." Well, this is a rebuilding 4 or 5 years for the Liberals, and there's no doubt about that, sitting right now with 14 seats, which is virtually a non-appearance.
Yeah, here's something.
The MPP.
Something I just came upon, Lee, is about an hour ago, Sam did go live on his Facebook. Let's see what that looked and sounded like.
Oh, good.
Hi everyone, Sam here. Just want you to know that you can still go vote for the next half hour. Polls don't close until 9 p.m. So if you haven't had a chance to get out there and cast your ballot for your PC candidate who's going to defend jobs here in Niagara and protect Ontario.
From my vantage point, I can't hear what Sam is saying.
You don't need to have your voting card. I've heard from people who haven't received it yet.
I don't have an earpiece for this show.
You don't need to have that. You do need to have ID.
But it did look like he was talking in the back.
Make sure you go and cast your ballot. There's still time. If you get out the door right now, maybe in your pajamas, that's okay. You're allowed to go vote in your pajamas. Make sure you do it. Have a great one. See ya, everybody.
Okay, I forget. Yeah, you can't hear that, but he's just basically encouraging people to go in and vote. But I mean, why was he going live from the secret underground lair? Like, what cave was Sam in when he shot this? Look how dark this is.
Hi, everyone. Sam here. Just
I guess he didn't pay for the lighting department.
Go vote for the next half hour. Polls don't close
what is
until
this?
9 p.m. So if you haven't had a chance to get out there
before the
cast your
polls
ballot
closed?
for
Yeah, this was at about 8:30. He says that there's still half an hour.
Where is he?
I don't know. I don't know why he didn't put a light on himself.
He's in the back, in the corner, in the dark, in the basement somewhere.
I don't know. He's somewhere in one of the valleys of Lincoln. But Sam, boy, congratulations on your win. But what is this?
Okay.
This is as dark as could be. All right.
Make sure you do it. Have a great one. See ya, everybody.
All right. See you, Sam.
It'll be very, very interesting, ladies and gentlemen, going forward, because there have been a lot of issues happening in Niagara. I mean, there are some pretty high-profile progressive conservatives here. Mayor Jim Diodati of Niagara Falls being one of them. I mean, there's some municipal politicians that are, you know what their political stripes are, but transit between Toronto and Niagara. Healthcare is such a huge, huge deal. Education. These are the big, you know, we can giggle all we want about the politics of it all and, you know, the sort of flimsy credibility that politicians have in general with their populations. But there are big issues in Ontario right now, and it goes beyond U.S. tariffs and all that ridiculous Trump hoo-ha and all that crap, because that's going to amount to a whole hill of beans and nothing. Really, at the end of the day, we have big issues. So I urge all of us to pay attention to those issues, irrespective of what's happening across the border. That might have got somebody elected with a majority, that sort of pushback and bravado and testosterone, you know. But at the end of the day, we still have to feed our families. We still have to be able to afford our food. We still have to be able to afford to drive our cars and trucks and do our work. And we still have to be able to expect expedient health care. And we still need to be able to properly expect education of our children and move forward on the things that are important to our families. And that really is where the rubber hits the road. And I don't care whether he has 79 seats, 100 seats, or 27,000 seats, or whatever it is, or whether we're green, or whether we're red, or whether we're blue, or whether we're orange. Those are the things that matter. And I encourage you to, regardless of who your MPP is, regardless of who your premier is, don't give up on the political leverage that you have. Have a voice, use the voice, and you can make a difference. You can. Even in the days when people say we can't, that your vote doesn't mean anything, it does mean something. So these people that have been elected, Jenny Stevens in St. Catharines, Wayne Gates in Niagara Falls, Sam Oosterhoff in Niagara West, Jeff Birch in Niagara Centre, hold their feet to the fire. They are your representatives. Make sure they represent you. You. Make sure they represent you. That's what you need to do. That's your role. You have a job to do, not just them. You have a job to do. Your job is to hold their feet to the fire to make sure they do theirs for you and the rest of us. So that's my soapbox.
Well, Lee, it sounds like that's the perfect thing to go out on.
That's all I got.
I think everything done here. Let's take a look at just a final look at the 4 local ridings in Niagara. We'll take a look at the 4 leaders, how they're doing in their ridings, and then also the provincial outlook. And I don't.
And
really
then we'll say ta-ta.
Yeah, I think so. So here we go. We'll start in Niagara West.
Niagara West, Sam Oosterhoff is your winner, ladies and gentlemen, with 50.4% of the popular vote. He is your representative in Queen's Park for Niagara West. And make sure you dig him out of that dark wherever he was and bring him into the light. Sorry, Sam. Niagara Centre, Jeff Birch. The percentage is not going to change. We got 92% of the vote in. We got 42% to 37%. Jeff Birch has been returned. He is your incumbent NDP MPP for the 2025 election. Congratulations to Jeff Birch. Jenny Stevens, congratulations to you. She just keeps on chugging along. She's had a long political career in Niagara as a municipal politician and then on into provincial politics in 2018. And she's going to be taking a trip to Queen's Park in 2025 and 6 and 7 and 8. So congratulations, Jenny Stevens, returned to her position. Wayne Gates, again, 54% of the vote. Not the fact that there were that many people that turned out in all of these ridings. That's a bit of a shame, but voter turnout has always been an issue. But congratulations to Wayne Gates, again, returned to his seat in the legislature with 54% of the vote. There you go. And Merritt Stiles, leader of the NDP, she won her seat by a large margin. Good for her. So the NDP, it looks like they're going to be the official opposition. Doug Ford, of course, a landslide in his riding and a landslide in the general election. Mike Schreiner of the Green Party of Ontario, he has his seat along with one other Green Party member that earned a seat in Ontario. And Bonnie Crombie, I don't think this is going to happen. It's still, what do we got, 84% in? She could still pull this one out, Kevin. This one's not done, but it's probably the biggest provincial story of the election.
Yeah, I would think so at this point.
Yeah.
There is one independent as we take a look at what's happening
province-wide.
Do we have an
independent?
I don't know who that person is. A lot of times it's somebody that aligned with a party and we're kind of the incumbent, but they've fallen out of favor or whatever, right? I don't know who the independent would be. Sometimes it's Northern Ontario.
We don't even know where that is, do we? Well, we don't tonight. I mean, somebody does.
Yeah, somebody knows. It's just not us. But they're the big numbers. 79 PC Party of Ontario seats either leading or winning. And Lee, across the province, we've got over 90% of the polls reporting. So these are pretty much final numbers.
Yeah, that's pretty much where it's going to sit, with the PC Party of Ontario, of course, having a massive mandate to continue to govern our province. For the Ontario NDP, of course, as the official opposition, the Ontario Liberals, they're sort of out there twisting in the wind. We don't even know if they're going to have an official leader in place by the end of the week. So there we go. And the Green Party of Ontario, again, they got a couple of seats. So, Kevin, Jack, thank you very much for your effort. We Stream, Canada's premier streaming service. I think we're probably about the only broadcast, I shouldn't say broadcast because it isn't a stream of its kind that has been taking place in the country. Thank you to Niagara 411 for allowing us to kind of peek inside your viewer and listener base and be a part of this. And it's something that we felt we needed to do because with the state of media today, And in Niagara, there's been a big change, be it print, be it radio broadcast, television broadcast, whatever. It's hard to find Niagara-centric news that you can depend on, and that is consistent and focused on Niagara, and that's all we wanted to do. And I hope that that has served you well for this evening. We're pleased to do it. And Niagara Votes 2025 has spoken. Have yourselves a great 4 years. Cheers.